Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2019 career mode, and I am looking forward to this one because it is quite a race. Spoiler alert. But anyway, getting into the episode itself, we've got some upgrades as ever, and they will help us throughout this race. The tyre wear upgrade on the chassis side of things, so probably not the most important to Monza, but every little bit helps, especially going into Singapore in the next round. But if you didn't see there, the weather is all clear for the weekend. No rain to worry about, at least in Formula 1. And there is the chassis side of things. As I said, we are still fourth last on that tree though, so still a lot of work to do, as on the aero side as well. And we are slowly dropping down the order on the engine side. Ferrari moving up as well, so we have to watch out for that. But anyway, we are still steadily improving the car overall. But let's see how it all plays out in practice.
Hello and welcome to a wet and windy Italian Grand Prix here at Monza. The conditions will pose a challenge to the drivers today, but hopefully we'll be seeing them out on track soon. Now, I'd like to tell you it's bright and sunny and we're enjoying some lovely warm weather for free practice today, but unfortunately, Anthony Davidson, someone's got the weather gods in an angry mood, and I think it's going to be a damp one.
Well, don't look at me, Crofty. I was hoping for a dry session like everyone else, especially the engineers down in the pit lane. They'll be the ones with the biggest concerns, as a lot of the answers they're looking for in terms of car setup and aero balance will now have to wait until it's dry. From a driver's point of view, there's a big responsibility when driving in these conditions during a free practice session, as there's very little to gain but a lot to lose, especially if you lose control of the car and end up damaging it. And if that does happen, it can put you on the back foot for the remainder of the weekend.
Okay, radar suggests this weather isn't going anywhere. Let us know when you've burned through those tyres and want to dry off a bit. We'll keep another set ready to go.
So as you can see, very wet and rainy session in practice 1, and we've got the blue wall tyres on. So yeah, that's something we had to contend with, but good reason to do the track acclimatization and some of the programs that really...
Okay, test complete, and that was a very good job indeed. We got a lot of valuable information out of that.
some of the programs that really don't mean anything, like yeah, track acclimatization, the DRS and all that sort of stuff. Completely missed the first corner there. And if the car sounds like it's making some strange noises, I've been running the old engines in practice just to make sure that we have enough for the season. But I figured out these bollards that stop you going straight through the chicane are way too close together. You can't actually make those corners. So
3 laps of fuel remaining.
that's interesting. And I believe in real life, you see. Actually, no, I think they made it through there in real life. Maybe it was in Formula 2.
And with all the cars now over the line, let's see our top 3 again. Vettel, Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an exceptional weekend of Formula 1.
But anyway, forget all that. We were nowhere in practice, both of us, but that is in the wet conditions. Dry conditions may mean completely different things, because that's just the way it works. So we'll just move on to practice 2 and hope the pace improves, because it should be a lot better than this. I was thinking this would be a track that should really suit the benefits of our car.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Hamilton, Leclerc and the scientist. What an incredible practice session. The fun doesn't stop here though. Join us again as the rest of the weekend unfolds.
So you can see in practice 2 we did much better than in practice 1, and finished 3rd and 5th. So yeah, the pace was really quite good when we did the racing runs. But anyway, let's see if we can translate that pace in qualifying.
The pit lane will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
Top speed is a key factor for this circuit. Even if you can achieve the same lap time as someone running less wing than you, chances are you'll find overtaking difficult if you have too much drag.
So to save time, we're moving straight on to the end of Q1. You can see Nico Hülkenberg up in P3. Brilliant result for him compared to Verstappen down in 12th. Both myself and Perez getting through in P6 and 7. Robert Kubica getting through as well, which is interesting to see. But Kevin Magnussen, George Russell, Lando Norris, Alexander Albon and Danny Kvyat knocked out in Q1 as Toro Rosso is really struggling around Monza. The Honda power letting him down a bit there, it seems. But that could be a theme for all the Red Bull cars. We move on to Q2, and Sergio Perez gets P2, so he was absolutely flying in Q2. We get P5, and it is a very strange looking top 10 at this point. Nico Hülkenberg gets knocked out in P11, as well as Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen, who was showing some really good pace, Robert Kubica, and a certain Devin Butler. So yeah, very interesting session. But Max Verstappen has found his pace. He's up in P3. So I guess we'll just have to wait and find out what Q3 has to offer, because it's very mixed up at the moment, and it seems like the Red Bull's pace is very shaky at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out for them. But we are, on paper at least, in qualifying, mixing it with the top teams. So there's no excuses for us. We should be able to qualify bare minimum in the top 3 rows, maybe even get a car onto the front row if one of us gets a perfect lap together. We'll see how it goes, though. We know qualifying in Monza can be a bit funny, but through the first and second chicanes fairly cleanly on our lap in Q3, and through the first Lesmo using all the available space, maybe lost a bit of time on the exit there, and same on the second Lesmo. Just felt a little bit awkward through those corners all weekend, but not too bad on this particular lap. A little bit wide on the exit of Ascari, but again, not too bad. This is a pretty decent lap that we're putting together. So it should put us there or thereabouts in terms of the overall pace. So let's hope we can just hold on to it through Parabolica. Very tricky corner to get quite as fast as you want to sometimes. But we finished the lap.
Well done.
And we go third.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Vettel and the scientist. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid line-up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
And Sergio Perez backs me right up in P4, so it's an amazing qualifying for the Racing Point team. Second row of the grid lockout, and yeah, we're mixing it with the Mercedes and Ferraris now around Monza. So that is absolutely amazing that we've been able to do that. So I guess we'll just have to see how it all plays out in the race.
Welcome everybody to the heart of Italian motor racing, Monza. We're here with Formula 2 for what ought to be an extravaganza of excitement and action. Let's head to the start line and get underway. Monza's emphasis on long, fast straights typically rewards a low drag setup, but teams using that could face some problems in these conditions. Watch out for Parabolica, possibly this track's most demanding corner. We may see cars struggling for grip there. Joining me for the race today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion Davide Valsecchi. Davide, it's great to have you with us for today's race. Any tips for our drivers out on the track today?
It's a real pleasure to be here, Alex. We are in for a spectacular day in Formula 2. My advice is to stay calm, look after the car, look after the tires, but don't be afraid to push when you see an opportunity. Using the DRS on some of those long straights will be crucial for the driver looking to make a challenge.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. A sterling effort from Roberto Merri yesterday puts him on pole position, with Alexander Albon starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, De Vries, Sergio Sette Camara, and Markelov, Galeo, Delatraz, Giotto, Nicholas Latifi, Boccolacci, Fukuzumi, Jack Aitken, and Gunter, Russell, Makina, Kari, and Arjun Maini. Fuoco and Alessio Lorandi completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alright, so Formula 2 time, and you can see it's raining, so I had a look. It looks like a set of tyres may just about be able to go the race distance, so it won't actually let me choose that as a strategy, but it literally says I can pit on the first lap, so that's good enough for me to tell me the tyres can make it the entire race. Heavy rain, so this will be a very difficult race as we line up on pole position, ready to start, and we have the whole field taking their place behind us. We go to 3, 4, and 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the rainy Italian feature race. And it's a pretty awful start. Got a bit of wheel spin, quite a lot of wheel spin actually, and just did not get away well, and we're getting swamped into the first corner. But I'm going to try and hold it to the inside here, try to take as many places back as possible, and we actually get back into P2. So we've recovered from a bad start, back down now to P3, and they're all going past again as we got a fairly slow exit, but we should be able to hold P3 as we go into the second chicane. We go for a big dive on Lando Norris there, but couldn't get the car stopped, and we gave the spot back because it didn't actually give us an illegal overtake, but I felt like it really should have been. So we gave the spot back, and now we'll just try to continue on. But look at the visibility. I pointed this out in the Austria episode as well, and that was only in the intermediate conditions. This is the full wet conditions. There's no visibility at all. It's horrible. But anyway, we don't get too far into the race. Nico Kari, mechanical failure, and that is him out of the race at this early stage. But not a worry to us. We get overtaken by Artem Markelov. We got a bad exit, and Markelov goes soaring past around the outside. So it's been a bit of a rough start in this one, but we might be able to recover. But the pace in the rain just isn't really there at the moment. I couldn't keep up with Albon and Norris out front. We move on, and we are now under attack from Nick De Vries. He's around the outside heading into the first corner, but we're going to switch to the outside, see if we can go down the outside, keep him on the narrow line. He's going to have to slow down more than we do for the corner, so we go to the outside, get the inside for the next left-hander, try to get the power down smoothly, but we don't really get the exit we need, and Nick De Vries is through for P4, so that didn't really work for us there. But we're still holding a decent points position, and what really I'm thinking about now is just trying to stay within reverse grid range. We go back down the inside of De Vries into the second chicane, and thankfully we can get back ahead. So we can fight for positions okay. The pace isn't that bad, but we just can't make any gains on the cars in front, which is it's really frustrating we're struggling to get out of corners seems to be the main thing, and just for mid-corner speed in general. But anyway, we get overtaken by Sergio Sette Camera, and he will be taking off into the distance now. We couldn't fight back, and he got a good exit out of the Seculosmo along the back straight. So yeah, it's just going backwards in this race at the moment.
2 laps until our pit window opens. We're going to put you on the full wet tyre.
We give Latifi the big squeeze as we head towards turn 1, but he's not backing out.
In this lap, push now.
So yeah, obviously we do, or we've been told to pit on this lap, but we're going to completely ignore that because I thought about it there, as you see, but we were trying to trick the cars behind, I guess. But yeah, we completely ignore the call to pit, and we'll continue on for the rest of the race because the tyres, they should make it, in theory. But we are currently now under fire from our teammate, and we let him past. He's got a lot more pace than we do. We don't need to hold him up on his in-lap. So yeah, we let him past, and we'll focus on our own race and trying to just run the fastest race that we can. But yeah, if we... That's a good guide though, because if we beat Luca Giotto, we know that we save time on this strategy, seeing as he pit from right in front of us. But we completely miss out the first chicane, get an illegal overtake for our trouble, and give that spot back to Lando Norris. So he's out in front of us, out of pit lane. He's got the fresh tyres, so we don't have much chance of beating him. But yeah, like I said, the goal isn't to win this one. The goal is to just minimise the loss, and I think not pitting and trying to just maintain the rhythm as we're...
Okay, this is Jeff. I need you to stop cutting the corners. If you keep it up, the stewards will award you a penalty.
It's only the first warning. Yeah, we'll just try and keep the rhythm and just get to the race, end of the race as quickly as we can, and hope that the position we're in is good enough to get near the front in the reverse grid format of the sprint race. But anyway, we move on. We've got Alexander Albon behind us, so he just goes straight past as we wander off the road, and we are back down to P3. But anyway, we don't need to worry about Albon. He was always going to beat us in this race, and same can probably be said for Markelov behind us. But we've been given the upper hand in terms of track position now, so hopefully that will be enough for us to stay competitive in terms of the finishing position, because the overall pace just is not there. So yeah, we're just going to be defending these positions as much as we can, and just trying to hold on to something within the top 8 by the end of the race. But I actually here decided to let Markelov past, and maybe hope that he can chase down Albon and Norris, because they're my championship rivals. Markelov's not really in the championship, so it's not really a disadvantage to me if he overtakes me. He's probably going to by the end of the race anyway, so I don't really need to worry about him. And if he can chase down the race leaders, that's all the better for me. But Sergio Sette Camera catches up. He tries to go around the outside into Ascari. We send it down the inside, but we just couldn't get it stopped out into the gravel trap just about. But Sergio Sette Camera switches back and gets through there. We could not defend that. Nicholas Latifi is oh, not Nicholas, Nick de Vries, the other Nick, is the next one, and he goes past down the inside into turn 1, and we couldn't fight that. We tried to get a switch back through the first couple of corners, but relatively speaking, we don't have any grip on these tyres compared to the new ones that everyone else is running. So we can't really fight back after someone overtakes us. But you can see we're defending now to the inside of Nicholas Latifi, and this time we just hold on to it and squeeze him right to the apex of turn 2, make sure there's nowhere for him to go there, and we hold on to that position. We'll go to the onboard from Latifi, see exactly what he saw, and he had to back right out of that. So that's the sort of stuff we need to do We'll defend as much as we need to because we're running out of positions. We're down to P6, so we can only afford to lose another 2 to stay within the reverse grid range. There's no point finishing 9th. So yeah, Nicholas Latifi gets past us eventually as we make a mistake at Ascari. So it's not really going very well. And we now have Sean Galale behind us, so hopefully it should be easier to hold him behind us than
This is your final lap of the race. Gap to teammate behind is 15.7 seconds.
than whoever I was even talking about, Latifi. But we go on to the last corner, and you can see we're side by side with Galeo, and just about getting ahead of him. But he gets a good run. Fukuzumi gets a good run out of the final corner. We're 3 wide across the finish line.
Race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And we get 9th. Right at the last possible moment.
Brilliant stuff from Carlin today. What a superb victory. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can. It's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
As we can see, it's time for the podium, and I can see the Carlin team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their driver walks out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team.
So, there we go, at the end of another race. Lando Norris gets the win, Alex Albon second, Markelov not able to chase them down for the top 2 spots. But, how did we lose the top 8 on the last corner?
And now, let's take a look at the driver's standings. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race for our championship leader. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd say Antonio Fuoco. He was committed the entire race, and it's paid off with the result.
On to the teams then. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the Russian time team today, as they make their way up the standings. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So, what show that was. Don't know what to say about that. Pole tonight, just not good enough. I just had no pace in the rain, bad start, but that really only dropped us 1 or 2 spots. So yeah, about the other 7. We had the better strategy. We still beat Luca Giotto, who pit from in front of us. So yeah, not pissing was clearly the faster strategy, but we just didn't have the overall pace. That was really all there was to it. And yeah, we were just never going to get in the top 8. But that was so annoying to just lose it right at the last corner. After the last corner, in fact, we got back ahead, but Galeo got past and Fukuzumi got past. And to be honest, I didn't even know Fukuzumi was there. I was focused on Galeo as we were heading across the line, and all of a sudden the Arden car was on the other side and took away our 8th position. But oh well, that's how it goes. You can see the battling away. That's we did throughout the race during this highlights reel. These super slow-mos look really cool. Anyway, absolute insanity. I'm so annoyed right now at that finish. Anyway, we still have the championship lead, so it's not all bad news, and we can try to beat Norris and Albon in the next one. They'll be starting right in front of us in P8 and 7. Like, we'll be starting 9th, so we have a good chance to do some fighting with them in the next race, so we have that to look forward to. And of course the Formula 1 will hopefully go better for us in the dry conditions.
Welcome back for the final event of the weekend, the sprint race. Here, the top 8 from yesterday's feature race are reversed to make up the grid below us. And in just a few minutes, those drivers will be hurtling down into turn 1. Alongside me today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. There looks to be a challenging race ahead of the drivers today, Davide. With that in mind, what are you looking out for today?
Well, Alex, I want to see how the drivers at the back of the grid are going to roll up. They'll need to make an impact in the early stages, and they're probably hoping for a bit of luck at the start. We may see some bold maneuvers out there today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Alright, won't let you down, Jeff, not this time.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
I am ready for the start of this one as we now go to 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Italian feature race. Bad start once again. But hopefully in these dry conditions we can be a bit more aggressive into the first corner. We get a little bit of a squeeze from Boccolacci and we couldn't quite make it around the outside. We're going to try anyway to the inside of turn 2, but that line really tightened up with Boccolacci on the outside, and Fuoco gets through there as well. So we've actually dropped down to P12 in this race already, so not a good start, dropping 3 spots off the line and through the first couple of corners. But Fuoco is going to be stuck behind Boccolacci, who's defending, so we go down the inside of both of them, and we get 2 for 1 into the second chicane, and up back into P10 now. So we've made up for the start, back up to 10th. So George Russell is up next. Let's see if we can get a run out of the Lesmos. Not quite. Missed the apex of the second Lesmo there, and George Russell is going to get away along this straight. So we just need to stop these little mistakes that I tend to make at the start of the races, and that will help us a lot. But anyway, we get a good run through Ascari, make up a little bit of time on George Russell, and as we head towards Parabolica, we're in the slipstream, a bit too far back to really even think about doing anything. But as we head into Parabolica, close up massively, and I'm starting to think maybe we could make a move into the first corner, carrying the speed through Parabolica. We get a really nice run on the exit there. Russell was held up by the cars ahead, I think, in the dirty air. So we were a bit of a perfect distance behind him to get the slipstream along the straight, and we go down the outside, but we couldn't get the car stopped, and we have to go straight ahead through through the bollards, knock over all of them, and rejoin the track, and immediately lose all of those positions again, back down to P12. So that was a bit of a disaster, and we just have all the work to do again. But we'll get on with it, get on with the race, and we can still fight for a decent position. It's just a minor setback. So we get a good run out of Parabolica versus Boccolacci. We're going to go to the inside towards the first corner, DRS open.
That's a new fastest lap for the race.
Fastest lap of the race, so that's going to help us out if we can finish in the top 8 or 10 and get the fastest lap points, and we get past Boccolacci as well. So that was a good straight for us. But next up is Antonio Fuoco, driver of the day, and we get the DRS on the main straight. So does Fuoco, and we're weaving around trying to make him defend. We go down the outside into the first corner, around the outside of Fuoco to the inside of turn 2, and we should get that done. Not quite, actually. Fuoco gets a good exit, and he manages to hold on there. So we're going to sit behind Fuoco for a bit longer, see if we can maybe make a move into the chicane. We're going to go down the inside. He's defending. We go down the inside of Antonio Fuoco and get that position, almost running ourselves off the road as we were trying to leave a bit of space on the inside. I wasn't sure if we were fully clear there, but we get clear of Fuoco up into P10. Next up is George Russell, and hopefully we can overtake him more successfully this time. But we'll see as we get a run on the main straight on George Russell, who in turn is making overtakes of his own. We go down the outside of both of them, and we just about do not make the corner, and we have to give those positions back. So yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Fuoco gets back through, and I really need to sort out the braking into that first corner. Just too deep in once again. But we're going to go down the inside of Antonio Fuoco and retake that position. Fukuzumi must have lost a lot of positions from the start. He would have started on pole, or on second at least. I'm not sure if he finished 7th or 8th, but he's now back here with me. But anyway, we get past Fukuzumi around the outside into the first corner, finally get a stop there for a change, and get ahead of Narei Fukuzumi. And now we can chase after George Russell. Another fastest lap, and down the outside of George Russell into the first corner, around the outside to the inside of the second corner, and we get that done. So we are moving through the field once again in this one into the points paying positions in P8. Next up is Lando Norris. So if we can beat him.
8th place, you're in 8th place. Gap to car in front is 2.5 seconds. The distance to the leader is 5.0 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 9 laps to go.
We're in 8th and there's only 5 seconds to the leader. This is crazy. And only 2.5 seconds to the next car. So the top 7 are within 2.5 seconds. That is insane. We go down the inside into the first corner of Sean Galale and around the outside of turn 2, and we get that position from sorry, not Sean Galale, Nick de Vries, that is. But anyway, this is the onboard big dive, push him all the way out the way, but we need to make these moves stick. Nick de Vries fights back though on the way into Ascari, side by side into Ascari, and we just about hold on through there. But actually, did he? What happened there? Oh, that wasn't Nick de Vries, that was George Russell, and he tried to make a move there, but I'm not really sure what happened. He just spun out mid-corner. There might have been a little bump, I'm not entirely sure. But George Russell went for a spin there. We'll slow it down one last time to see if we can figure out exactly what happened. And I think we may have just touched his front wing with our right rear wheel as he was coming back onto the track after running slightly wide there. And there wasn't quite a car width for him to take behind us there. So I'm not sure how to call that one. But Russell went for a bit of a spin. Next up is Sean Galale, as I mentioned earlier. He is in this top 5 of cars. We go down the inside into the final corner, not quite being able to pull it off though. But can we get a good run along the straight in the slipstream? Because look at the battle for the lead. We can see it all. And wow, it's the final lap. That's actually crept up. I didn't realise we've gone so far into the race. But anyway, we go down the inside of Galale into the first corner, and we get that position from Sean Galale. Next ahead of us is Lando Norris, and that group of cars up there, that goes all the way to the leader. But Nico Kari, for the second race running, retires with a mechanical failure just before starting the final lap of the race. So I don't even know what team he drives for, but they really need to look at what they're doing. 2 engine failures for the same car.
Okay, the incident has been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed.
Yeah, that's very weird to see. But anyway, Lando Norris is battling way up ahead, but he's not able to make the move. But we weren't able to catch up to him on the final lap. We've got a good run, but it won't be enough, and we're going to cross the line for P5 in the sprint race.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Yeah, a decent race as we give Lando a bit of a nudge, but nothing special.
So Russian Time have won it, and what a great race it was. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I think this race was won thanks to the tire management. You have to remember, it's not just about going as fast as you can, it's about consistency. It's about maintaining your speed over an entire race distance. So being able to keep the lap time competitive while still respecting the tires, that's where they won today.
And here are podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Russian Time, then, are on top today.
So it's a second win in 4 races for Artem Markelov, third win in 4 races for Russian Time. So they're really on form since the summer break. But anyway, yeah, 5th place for us.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It was not the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Luis de Letras. He was just perfect in conserving the tires and made the difference at the end.
And here's how things are shaping up in the team's championship. Dams moved further ahead at the top of the standings. There was also a strong showing from the Russian Time team today as they make their way up the standings. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
So Albon and Sede Camera complete the podium for this one. But a much better race than the first one. 9th back up to 5th. So not a bad race. But if we made less mistakes, a podium definitely could have been on the cards. But yeah, we made too many mistakes that cost us a couple of positions in that race. But anyway, we were at one point we were in 8th place, 5 seconds off the lead. The top group of cars were all so close together. Albon actually had a really good race to go from 7th up to 2nd, overtaking more cars than I did, I think. So not the best weekend of F2, but we were able to recover and score a decent chunk of points in the sprint race. So yeah, not a complete disaster, but yeah, it could have been a lot better. But anyway, we will soon get into Formula 1, and this race, I will say, is the highlight of the weekend, the F1 race coming up. If you've made it this far into the video, or maybe you've skipped straight to this point to get to the F1 race, who knows.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Raikkonen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6 mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Why don't we begin by discussing Alexander Albon? There's a new gearbox in the back of that car, which means a grid penalty, and hopefully some excitement as they make their way through the field.
Fingers crossed that's one failure they won't have to worry about today at least. There's not much of a silver lining to starting down the field with a penalty, but I think they'll be able to make some of that back up over the course of the race.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have the scientist, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, Bottas, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen and Robert Kubica, Butler, Russell, Lando Norris and Faber. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ricciardo, Kvyat, Max Verstappen and Nico Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You can run side by side into the Rettifilio, but don't brake too late on these cold tyres or you will hit someone.
So I didn't mention it at the time, but notice Max Verstappen qualified in 10th. And to add to that, both of the Red Bulls have been penalised down to the 9th row of the grid. So 17th and 18th for them. So very weird to see them so far back. But anyway, we now go to 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Italian Grand Prix. It's a superb start by both Lewis Hamilton and myself. A slightly slower one for Vettel, but the straight line speed of that Ferrari helping him out. We're light on the brakes into the first corner. Vettel tried to cut us off, but we're going to go to the inside of turn 2, squeeze him out, and we take P2 at the start of the Italian Grand Prix. Sergio Perez is going to back me up all the way through, and he takes P3 from Vettel as well. So it's currently a 2-3 for the Racing Point team in this early stage of the race. Way too early to get excited about that, but an absolutely perfect start for both of us in this race. And I have to say, in these early stages, the car is feeling absolutely fantastic, and the upgrades that we've been putting on
Okay, entering lap 3 now. DRS has been enabled.
are really helping. But as we get on to lap 3, DRS enabled, but we weren't quite able to stay in touch with Lewis Hamilton. We're close, but just not quite close enough to be able to get DRS, and we are pushing absolutely flat out to just try to keep that little bit of slipstream, and I just hope that we can just maintain that, and that will help us stay in touch in this race and just pull away from the rest of the field.
Hamilton ahead, they're on fresh softs. Their tyres are 2 laps old. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 25.8. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap.
Yeah, and we'll see we're 1/10 a lap slower on lap 2, so we clearly have some decent pace, at least in the high fuel modes. So in theory we could keep up at least for a little while, and you can see as we move on though, it just didn't really happen. But that is the amount he gained by lap 12, so he's just been inching away just ever so slightly. And the reason I jumped so far ahead is because literally nothing happened. I've just been circulating, pushing as hard as possible, but there was really nothing to show through all of that time. And eventually it's actually time for us to come in for our first pit stop. And at this point I'm thinking it's going to be a pretty boring race. Hamilton has been able to take off into the distance, but we'll get a bit of an undercut here. So we'll see if we can make the most of it.
Complete, go now.
A brand new set of soft tyres on the car. So that'll be a really nice help for us in this session.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
And yeah, we should be able to be very, very competitive and get a really nice undercut with these new soft tyres. And I actually didn't have tyre overheating issues for the first time in a long time around this circuit, so that's why I went for another set of softs. Otherwise I definitely would have picked the mediums, but at the same time I need this big undercut to try to get back with Lewis Hamilton. So as he makes his pit stop and exits the pit lane, we'll find out where he re-emerges relative to us, and that's us going past there. We fly straight past him, and we have undercut Lewis Hamilton massively. The undercut very, very powerful here at Monza apparently, and that is exactly what we were trying to do. Even more than what we wanted to do actually. I didn't think we were going to overtake him. I thought we were just going to try to close the gap within DRS range, but we've been able to actually overtake him. That is insane. But anyway, we can't lose focus now. We've done the hard work with the undercut, so now it's just a matter of keeping him back for as long as we can, or letting him past and sitting in the slipstream. We'll see what seems easier once he actually catches up to us. But for now, it's just push as hard as possible and just run the fastest possible race that we can and see if we can secure a podium. But I actually noticed around this time that Sergio Perez didn't pit with Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc didn't pit either. So I'm not really sure what strategy they're running, but a very interesting one anyway. But Lewis Hamilton gets passed through Parabolica, as you see there. We just couldn't really fight back against him. We've got some decent straight line speed, but we're lacking in the corners as Robert Kubica retires and almost takes his teammate out within good reactions there from George Russell as Kubica rejoined the track in front of him, and that was awkward. But you can see into the first corner Hamilton defending there, which is a little bit unusual. I'm not really planning on trying to overtake him unless an opportunity presents itself. Then I'll very much take it, but that might actually happen as we're heading into the next couple of corners. We go round the outside, and we're going to hold it there to the inside, and we'll be side by side as we head towards Lesmo 1, down the inside of Lesmo 1, and we take the position away from Lewis Hamilton using all the road on the exit, and that is P4 for us again, and P3 in fact, as one of the other cars ahead made their pit stops. It's just Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc left in front of us. But Hamilton gets straight back past as we run into Ascari, and I'm not going to fight that too much until we get another opportunity down the inside into Parabolica. But Hamilton switches back, but we switch back again. It's a double switch back, and we get through as we run onto the main straight. But as I was saying, Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez are on a one stop in this race, which is worth noting, and that could actually put them ahead with the amount that we're battling away with Lewis Hamilton. And now Sebastian Vettel joining the party as well, side by side with Lewis Hamilton behind us. But Hamilton holds on for now as we head into Parabolica, having to defend there, and having trouble keeping up with everything that's happening. We've got a bit of a slow exit out of Parabolica. Hamilton's got a good one, and Sebastian Vettel is not going to be holding back either. So we're three wide as we head towards turn 1. Hamilton covers us across, so Vettel locks up as we head into the first corner. They almost bang wheels, and we're going to try to stick to the right hand side, follow Hamilton through behind Vettel, and we do that. We get past Vettel, and can we get past Hamilton at the same time? We've got some decent momentum on our side. Hamilton's defending. We go down the outside, but we just can't quite get an overlap there. But we do get past Sebastian Vettel as apparently Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc must be battling away for the race lead. So maybe they're battling away as much as we are. We might still be in a position to be battling with them later on. We'll see, but it's hard to say what exactly is going on at the moment with strategy. But I'm not going to let these two get away, because I don't know if there'll be a chance of a podium if we let them past. So Hamilton, it looks like it's got away a little bit for now. Sebastian Vettel is going to our outside as we head towards Parabolica, but we're going to hold it to the inside, and we actually get quite a nice run through there, a nice exit, and a better one than Lewis Hamilton. So as we head on to the main straight, we get the DRS open. We're going to have the momentum versus Lewis Hamilton with the reduced drag, and he's going to defend into the first corner. We go to the outside, down the outside of Lewis Hamilton, round the outside of the first corner to the inside of turn 2, cutting it a little bit, but squeezing him all the way to the edge of the road, and we get back past Lewis Hamilton for P3 in this race. This battle is getting very, very intense, but we managed to take P3 back on that occasion.
The gap to the car ahead is 14.9 seconds.
14.9 seconds now ahead to Charles Leclerc in second place, slightly more than that to Sergio Perez in the race lead. So we will need to get a move on if we want any chance of beating them, because we've both only got one stop left. But Hamilton gets past on the main straight once again, but we can't fight back into the first corner on this occasion. We're just going to try to sit in the slipstream as we do, and see what we can do into the second chicane. So we're sitting in the slipstream behind Hamilton. Can we get a run into the chicane? Not quite close enough, but we are right behind him. We might be able to get a decent run through the Lesmos if we're lucky. Sebastian Vettel is still sitting there behind us, so we can't do anything too aggressive, or he'll be right there as well, trying to take any advantage he can. We get a nice run through the second Lesmo. We'll get the DRS on the run into Ascari, so we'll have a really good opportunity to re-overtake Lewis Hamilton here. And it looks like he's already moving across a little bit, but we couldn't get enough overspeed there. And as we exit Ascari, Sebastian Vettel gets a good run, and we can't hold him back, but we go for a dive. We're side by side through Parabolica with Sebastian Vettel, and he's going to hold it round the outside, but we're both going to get the DRS on the main straight versus Lewis Hamilton. So we'll sit in the slipstream of Sebastian Vettel and see if we can follow him through. He's having a little look to the inside. Hamilton defends, Vettel goes to the outside. We're just going to brake early and see if we can follow one of them through. We almost run into the back of Sebastian Vettel, had to take avoiding action as they're side by side through the first corner, and on the exit Lewis Hamilton is on the inside. They're banging wheels. Sebastian Vettel's got the momentum round the outside. Hamilton has to slot in behind Sebastian Vettel for now, but he won't be there for long.
That is Sergio behind you. The gap behind us is 8.8 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 1 lap old. Their time last lap was a 1:45.6.
So as we exit the second Lesmo, Leclerc and Sergio Perez have made their pit stops, or at least Perez has. Leclerc, I think, is yet to stop, and Hamilton and Vettel side by side through Ascari. They can occasionally take each other out doing that, but not on this occasion. They just hold each other up though, and we get a really good run to the outside of Sebastian Vettel towards Parabolica. Can we do anything here? Hamilton's going to move up and block us off, but we're going to try and hold it round the outside of Sebastian Vettel through Parabolica. We run off the road a bit though, and Sebastian Vettel gets through there, but on the straight we'll have the DRS. Vettel has DRS as well though, and he will have some good momentum versus Hamilton, but we're a little bit too far back. Hamilton defends, so he's still feeling the pressure, and
Leading our teammate by 8.8 seconds.
Sergio Perez not that far behind us still in this race, but Vettel locks up, so he's under pressure still from Lewis Hamilton. He must have got ahead at some point. I swear they were around the other way before. I don't know, I can't keep up with what's going on in this race anymore. But anyway, yeah, Sebastian Vettel is holding us up a little bit, but to be honest, I don't really care about what's happening with Leclerc and Sergio Perez. They're running their own race. We're running our own race, and we're fighting for completely different positions now. At this point, we go down the outside of Sebastian Vettel into the first corner, see if we can take advantage of Lewis Hamilton's overtake, and we get through there on the inside of turn 2, and we're going to try and hold it around the outside. Sebastian Vettel is there somewhere on the right hand side, I'm not exactly sure where, but we hold it around the outside and get through there. So back up into for third place in this race. Let's see if we can get a run on Lewis Hamilton. He's actually gotten away from us. He might not even be within DRS range as we were battling away with Vettel there. So if he's broken DRS, we could be in trouble. We'll see how this goes. You can see we're pushing really hard through the middle sector. We do have DRS, thankfully, but that was a little bit scary there for a moment. I thought we'd lost it. We were right on the limit, surely, but thankfully we still have it. We'll be able to close up now as we head through Ascari, and you can see we are visibly a bit closer. But yeah, that was a scary moment. We cannot let him get away. But it's time for us to make our second stop as Hamilton and Vettel continue to fight away in front of us. But anyway, new tyres on, quick stop 2.1 seconds, and we can get back underway.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
In this race. So look at this, we have an absolute pile of clean air. But there's a caution up ahead, and it is Charles Leclerc. He was on target to win this race with the strategy he was on, and he's been driving very slowly. We actually overtake him.
Some information on Leclerc. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car.
And he's out of the race. So whatever happened to Charles Leclerc, it is a terminal issue, some kind of mechanical failure, and he is out. And parks it up at the exit of Ascari. No safety car. So that promotes Sergio Perez into the race lead, puts us right in the podium battle once again as we overtake Sebastian Vettel and go for a dive around the outside of Lewis Hamilton as he exits pit lane side by side through the first 2 corners, and we overtake Lewis Hamilton, and we now hold second place in this race. It is a Racing Point 1-2 at this point.
P3, Sergio is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 10.7 seconds. They're on old mediums. Hamilton is behind you. They're on fresh mediums. Our gap to first place is 15.7 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. 19 laps to go.
Well, I say it's a Racing Point 1-2. There's still someone ahead of Sergio Perez, but I think they are yet to pit in this race. So as we move on, that was actually Valtteri Bottas. That was the car ahead, I think. And as he made his pit stop, Sergio Perez takes the lead. But it was a very short-lived 1-2, if it existed at all, because Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton both overtook me along the main straight. They're battling away through towards the second chicane. We're trying to find a way through, but there was just nowhere for me to go there, so we're just going to have to try and follow one of them through. But we completely missed the chicane, and we can't really make any advantage there. Try it around the outside of Sebastian Vettel, didn't really work out, so we're just going to have to get the DRS towards Ascari and see if we can overtake him there. So DRS open, but we couldn't get close enough. But on the exit of Ascari, he was battling away with Hamilton. We try to go to the outside towards Parabolica, but there's not really enough space there. They were always going to move across, so we go to the inside, down the inside of Hamilton and Vettel into Parabolica, and it's a double overtake though. But they're going to have the momentum as we head on to the main straight. 3 wide along the main straight with Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, and they both have a little bit more momentum than me at this point, but we go down the middle into the first corner, and we hold on to P2, and that is being the last of the late breakers at its best. But amongst all that, we have held them up to the point where Valtteri Bottas is now the car in third. They've been battling with each other too much, and Valtteri Bottas is the car threatening us now. So he tries to go to the inside of Parabolica, but we managed to hold it around the outside, but he's got some pretty good momentum on the exit.
You're in second place. That's Sergio ahead. The gap to the car ahead is mediums. Bottas is behind you. The gap is less than a second. They're on fresh mediums. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 13 laps to go.
Sergio Perez is actually getting further and further ahead of us as we've been battling, so we've got no chance of beating him at this point. We certainly would have if we were running on our own, but we've just been constantly under attack from Hamilton, Bottas and Vettel. So we haven't been able to run our own pace, and we've been losing a lot of time.
Sergio is ahead of you.
And as Valtteri
The
Bottas...
time last lap was a 1:26.5.
Okay, radio's playing up a bit there. But Valtteri Bottas tried to get past. We go for a big dive around the outside and retake second place in this race once again. And look at the top right, there is still plenty of time left in this race. So this battle is going to go on and on for quite a while, I imagine. But
Sergio is ahead of you. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 20 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:26.1.
I was continuously checking to see how Sergio Perez was going. He was maintaining the gap to me as we defend from Bottas once again. And again, he just keeps trying to the inside of the first corner, but we're always just managed to hold
Second
around the
place.
outside.
You're in second place. Sergio is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 10.3 seconds.
But yeah, the gap sort of went between 10 to 12 seconds this whole time. And you can see we're almost off the road defending one Bottas, trying to break the slipstream. Bottas, a lot of speed on the outside. We go for a big dive down the inside into the first corner, just getting it stopped for turn 2 without cutting the chicane. That was right on the limit there. But we managed to hold on. Here's the onboard from Valtteri Bottas, and you'll see just how big of a dive this was, how much speed we carried into the apex of the corner. And we had to park right on the apex of turn 2 just to make sure that Bottas couldn't get a run. But I was actually very proud of myself for this one, for not running off the road, just about keeping it on the road through the second part of the chicane there, and not cutting the corner at all. So that was a really cool move. But anyway, through the second Lesmo, bit of a mistake, and Valtteri Bottas has a run, and he is straight past along the back straight now on lap 45 of this race. So we have it all to do on the front straight. It'll be our turn to try to overtake into the first corner, see if we can do what Bottas has been struggling to do. So as we go onto the main straight,
That's a new fastest lap for the race.
we get the fastest lap of the race on a lap later, and we fly straight past Valtteri Bottas. And we take that position now on to lap 47 of this race. So that will give us 2 bonus points in the championship, and if we can hold on to this position, that will be 20 points, and easily the most we've scored in any weekend. But Bottas goes back down the inside into Parabolica. He is not giving up, but we get a nice switch back. We have the DRS if we are behind at the activation point or detection point, which we are, and we get the DRS towards the first corner to the outside of Valtteri Bottas, and
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
this shouldn't be too difficult. Round the outside of Valtteri Bottas, and we retake second place. So now it's the time of the race where I'm starting to think about if I want to be in front or behind heading onto the last lap, and what's more important, if I should favour track position or getting the DRS, and where I should be trying to get the DRS. But to be honest, I think I'm just going to try and hold on to the track position and defend the position. But lap 49, Bottas gets through round the outside into Ascari. We're being very aggressive over the curves or through all 3 of those corners, and we'll be in the slipstream of Bottas. Hamilton has decided to show up once again in this battle, as we get a run on Bottas into the first corner now on lap 50 of this race, and we get past Valtteri Bottas there. Lewis Hamilton on the onboard here is just waiting his turn, see if he can do anything. But we're side by side with Bottas. We bang wheels as we head towards the second chicane down the inside of Bottas, and just like we did a few laps ago, we send it and park it on the second apex of the chicane, so Bottas can't do anything, and we retake second position once again. Valtteri Bottas comes back at us on the main straight round the outside. We're going to hold it to the inside, but didn't go in quite as deep as I wanted to. We bang wheels, he actually cuts the corner there, and we get the drive on the exit, and we'll hold it to the inside, and we'll be drag racing towards the second chicane. Bottas actually holds it round the outside and gets the position, so can we go for a dive into the next corner? We go for it down the inside, and we just about make that corner. I was envisaging the car going straight ahead, but we managed to turn the car, so that could be an effect of the upgrades, especially the tyre wear. Late in the stint, we've been demonstrating some pretty good pace, and obviously we've been able to hold back the Mercedes cars for all this time, so things are working out for us as we are about to head on to the penultimate lap of the race. We are still maintaining P2 in this race, still maintaining the 1-2 for the team. But you can see it is getting very, very difficult to try to hold back the other cars. Luckily, they keep battling with each other a little bit as well, which is helping us out. But Bottas down the inside into turn 1. We hold it around the outside to the inside and retake that position now on this second last lap of the race. And as you can see, once again, Hamilton and Bottas battling away behind, and Hamilton gets ahead on this occasion. Hamilton up into P3 in this race as we very aggressively take the curbs through the second chicane, and now through the Lesmos. We just need to get the rest of this race.
This is your final lap of the race.
Absolutely perfect. We've got a bit of a lead on the Mercedes cars now. They were battling away for the second half of the lap before, and that will potentially relieve the pressure off of us on this final lap. We just need to get to the end, and we should bring home the 1-2 finish for the team.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
And we have some fuel to save, it seems. But anyway, we should be able to get to the end on the fuel we have, but it has been something we've had to manage very, very carefully throughout the race. We were a long way into the negative at a few points when we were trying to keep up with Hamilton without the DRS. We burnt a lot of fuel then, but in the DRS sitting behind him, we've mostly been able to get all of that back. And as we head towards Ascari for the final time, we have now one corner left between us and a 1-2 finish for the team. So we will cut ahead in a moment to see Sergio Perez as we look back to see the Mercedes cars. Here is Sergio Perez, and he's going to come across the line to win the Italian Grand Prix for Racing Point. Brilliant effort from Sergio Perez, brilliant strategy to get him into the lead, and we are going to come across the line only just for P2.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And an incredible win for Racing Point. A brilliant performance. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
The Racing Point team will be very happy with today's performance and the final result. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork, and a well-deserved first-place finish.
So there you have it. It's a 1-2 for the team. That is certainly not the result I expected coming into the weekend. Valtteri Bottas chasing us all the way to the end, but only P3 for him. It's a 1-2 for the Racing Point team. You'll love to see it.
So, let's Let's review the driver's standings. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So that was that's it for the race. The Red Bulls really no pace, 9th and 14th, despite starting a long way back. They should have had more pace than that, so that was interesting to see. But anyway, we don't actually change our position in the championship at all, but that will be a massive help for us versus Red Bull in the team's championship. And well, you can see there the gap between us now is quite massive.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. You must be thrilled to be up on the podium.
It's insane. I didn't expect the podium coming into this weekend. I thought the track would suit our car, but the 1-2 just insane.
We all underestimated you, didn't we?
Well, we've been improving the car slowly but surely, and it's all just worked out for us here.
Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you?
Yeah, you never know. I don't know, he's always been good at overtaking. We've seen that right from the outset in Australia. He put in some good moves in that race alone. So I think he's always been a talent.
That was a close finish. How are things between the two of you?
Yeah, things are fine. I mean, we've had a really good rivalry all season.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Thanks, Claire. So, 1-2 for the team. What more could you want? Fastest lap as well, which is absolutely insane. The pace was really good that lap. Obviously, we had DRS assistance, but that's to be expected at Monza, the fastest lap. You'd almost need DRS to get that. But anyway, we'll get a bunch of resource points for the team goal. 1,000 resource points, almost 2,000 in total. So we should be able to spend some money, spend some of those on the upgrades.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
Just those last 2 laps, I was sweating for about the last 40. But anyway, ever since that first pit stop, the race, there was no breaks in that race after the first stop. The first 12 laps, there was nothing. But yeah, after the first round of pit stops, it all kicked off. But as for the upgrades, I wasn't really sure what to go for. As I said, we were slowly slipping down the order on the engine department, but I feel like that might be something we work on next season. But I think for the rest of this season, we've put all our resources into the chassis and aero side, so I think we're just going to continue with that theme and go for another upgrade on that side. We're actually going to go for another efficiency upgrade to make those a bit cheaper in the future, and that is instantaneous. So no performance upgrades this time, but they will come thick and fast in the future. So that is the plan of attack from now on. So anyway, that was a very successful episode, and I really enjoyed commentating over that one. So there's not much left to say other than thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I will see you for the next one. Goodbye.